What sends you into orbit? Sometimes comfort problems aren't really about the thermostat. Sometimes comfort problems aren't really about the thermostat. Hot spots, cold spots, poor airflow, humidity issues, and aging equipment can leave everyone feeling frustrated. As the husband and wife-owned company, trust us, we get it. Whatever sends you into orbit, make sure your home's comfort isn't one of them. Schedule your tune-up and home evaluation with LCS Heating and Cooling today. Go to lcsheatingandcooling.com.
Outside the Forecast on WTHR Plus is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.
There is a lot happening in the night sky here in mid-August. I'm 13 News meteorologist Matt Standridge. I wanted to talk about the Perseid meteor shower. The Perseids are probably your best meteor shower, arguably for the year, but definitely for the summer. The Geminids are also pretty good there in the wintertime, but at least with the Perseids, you're not freezing, right? You can be outside looking up and enjoy a nice summer night. Temperatures aren't usually too cold, and a little humid out there. So let's talk about what you can expect, because this year could end up being a really good year, but it really depends on the weather forecast too. So when it comes to our checklist, we could have one of the best viewing in several years because there will be no moonlight. We have a new moon coming up. In fact, there's going to be a moon during the day that's going to cause a total solar eclipse over the Arctic and parts of Europe, which we'll get to in just a moment. But because the sun's up, or the moon's up during the day, at nighttime it's going to be below the horizon, so we don't have any moonlight. So that's great. But then the other two questions will be, okay, what about clouds? What about rain chances? So as we're looking, that could be a factor for many Americans. And what about wildfire smoke? You know, it's kind of hazy in the summertime. And when you get some wildfire smoke, it makes it a little bit tougher to see. But if we can check this off for wildfire smoke and check the clouds and be okay, I'd say a realistic estimate kind of around Indiana, if you're not in a dark sky park, you could see maybe a meteor every 2 to 3 minutes, maybe about 25 meteors an hour, but you got to get away from city lights. You also have to let your eyes adjust. Now, NASA says you can see up to 50 to 100 meteors under absolutely perfect conditions. No haze, it's completely dark, you don't have any clouds or anything like that, and you have no city lights around you whatsoever. We've got a dark sky park up over by the dunes, so you could head up there and try to get a better view. So no moonlight, that's awesome. The peak night will be Wednesday into Thursday morning, so the 12th to the 13th, so Wednesday night. Now, timing is also a factor on how many meteors you could possibly see. Really, the peak time is about 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, so you got to stay up or get up really early. Now, as soon as the sun sets, you got to wait a little bit. You got to get all that final light out of the sky. So really, you're looking after 11, but I tell you what, if you can stay up later, you'll see more and more of that peak, because what we're watching is Perseus, the constellation. The reason why we get the name Perseid meteor shower. Most of our meteor showers, we name them after kind of the constellation that they're near, because it will somewhat appear as if the meteors are coming from it. We call that the radiant. Now, one thing is, Perseid doesn't actually come up above the horizon really until about midnight or a little bit after midnight. And so once that finally comes up, you should see the maximum amount of these meteors, the shooting stars coming up. So make sure you get a couple wishes ready. You want to look, of course, up. You could look slightly northeast. Here's a tricky thing, though. Wherever you have Perseus, you may not want to look right at Perseus, because that's where the meteors will start, and then they'll fly over. So what I would do is I would look towards Perseus, especially once it comes up, and then kind of look up from there, because then you'll start seeing the streaks. If you look right towards Perseus, you only see kind of a glimpse. You really want to see him race across the sky, so you want to look up. So that's just kind of a pro tip. Perseids will be out there. This is something that we get every single year, but it's not every single year we get no moonlight. So we don't have a big old night light in the sky. Now, if Wednesday night doesn't shape up, well, maybe weather's getting in the way, depending on where you are. I want to let you know that Wednesday night is not the only night that you can see the Perseids. It's definitely peak night, and there's a big difference. So under perfect conditions, once again, no moonlight, no wildfire smoke, no haze, no clouds, 50 to 100, that's a lot. If you're in a dark sky park, you would see one every minute, maybe even two in a minute. I mean, you would see a lot. So that's the night, peak night. But also Thursday night or Tuesday night, kind of around peak, you still see maybe 30 an hour. Under perfect conditions, I mean, you're talking one every 2 minutes. It's still pretty good. And then it tapers off from there. You could still see some Friday night or even Saturday night, but don't expect as many. Once again, the best time to watch will be early in the morning, 3 to 4 o'clock. So it's not as convenient as some meteor showers where as soon as the sun sets and you get dark, you can look up, which you can, you may see some, but you'll definitely want to wait. 3 to 4 a.m. is the perfect timing there, or the best timing, we should say. Here's also something interesting. Not everyone gets to see the Perseids. Few reasons why. Number one, the constellation Perseus, really only available to the northern hemisphere. That's why we have the best visibility. However, there's an asterisk there. If you go too far north, you won't get dark. Here in the summertime, the sun never sets in the polar regions, and even farther south from there, the sun may set, but the sky doesn't go completely dark, so you can't quite see them. Even in northern Canada, even in parts of Alaska where the sun technically does come above the horizon, depending on where you are, you still won't be able to see them really in Alaska unless you're maybe south of Juneau or near some of the islands farther south. So really, Indiana in the Midwest, we're one of the best locations to even see the Perseids in the whole world. You stretch that into Europe and Central Asia. On the flip side, let's go south. You can technically see it just south of the equator, but Perseus isn't as well seen this time of year farther to the south. So you can see some, but a lot of times they're kind of, this sounds weird, they're below the horizon. So they're flying down, but you can't see them as much as you're looking above, looking up towards the sky. So as you go south, you can't see, and eventually you get cut off where you just can't see any at all. So Sydney, Australia, or around Auckland, New Zealand, they can't see it. And of course, they're towards the South Pole, even though at the South Pole, it's dark all summer long, right? Because the sun never comes back up, you can't see it. So you have the darkness, check, but you can't see Perseus. You can't really see the meteor showers. You're not pointed in the right direction. So there is a difference on visibility. Now, a few folks in Europe will get a twofer for this week. We're talking about a total solar eclipse. So this is cool. This is the reason why we also have a new moon. You have to have the moon up during the day to block the sun, right? And it just aligns perfectly for this yellow path, the path of totality, starting just off the coast of Russia, over the North Pole, places like Greenland and Iceland will see that total solar eclipse, and then it wraps to Europe right before the sun is setting, and then it will go away. Folks just east will just barely miss it. But it will clip northern Spain, which is cool. Now, I also have, along with path of totality, I have other rings for the partial eclipse, right? You may not get a total, but you get partial, and really it's all about the total. But it is kind of cool if you have the solar glasses on, you can kind of see the sun being eaten a bit, and then it starts coming back again for a partial. Really, total is the coolest. That's when it kind of looks like this, where the moon's blocking the sun, you can see the outer rays of the sun. It's really cool. Here in the US, technically we do have a partial solar eclipse, possibly noticeable if you have glasses, the specialized glasses. You have to have those. Don't look with your eyes. You get it in the Northeast. Here in Indiana, Indianapolis does not get a partial total eclipse, but places like South Bend and Fort Wayne do, but it's 0.1 to 0.5%. Not even a full percent, but 0.5% max of the sun disappearing because of the moon. So you really can't even notice that if you have the solar glasses on. You would have to have a specialized telescope looking up, and you'd see just this tiny nibble for a couple seconds of the sun being eaten away, and that would be about it. Really, you got to go up towards Europe or in the Arctic regions to get that total solar eclipse. That's also Wednesday. So how it lines up, total solar eclipse takes place, and I tell you what, NASA has a live stream starting 1:15, so you can watch the total solar eclipse. Of course, it's not here, but they'll have cameras, so you can still watch it if you want to stream that. It'd be cool. So you have that August 12th, Wednesday, and then Wednesday night is the peak of the Perseids. There's a lot going, and the night sky as space is active here this week.
Outside the Forecast on WTHR Plus is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.